Imagine living in an ancient farming village. Out on the hillsides, a shepherd is standing watch. Their entire life revolves around a single job: keeping the flock safe, making sure they're fed, and guiding them home. For thousands of years, people have looked at that dedication and expected the exact same thing from their leaders. Whether it's a king, or a politician, or a community caretaker, we want someone who looks out for us. But we also know the pain of watching that trust break down. Instead of a protector, the leader becomes a predator, treating the people he's supposed to serve as a way to fill his own pockets. When the people in charge decide to serve only themselves, the results are always the same. The weakest and most vulnerable in the community pay the heaviest price. In the biblical book of Ezekiel, chapter 34, God addresses this exact problem. He looks at Israel's kings and priests and calls them out for being exactly like those selfish, corrupt shepherds. He lists exactly what they did wrong. Community resources were diverted for their own use. Leaders ignored the sick, pushed the weak aside, and ruled harshly. Because they focused on personal gain, the hurting suffered. If someone got lost, no one went looking. This situation grieves God. He sees the people he deeply loves being hurt by the very leaders appointed to protect them. To God, the genuine welfare and safety of his people will always be more important than the maintenance of authority or power. So what does God do when human leaders completely fail? Does he just sit back and watch from a distance? His response in Ezekiel 34 is surprising. He doesn't announce a new committee to investigate the problem, and he refuses to send another assistant or middleman to try and fix it. Instead, he declares, "I, even I, will search for my sheep." He decides to step down and manage his family himself. He promises to do the work with his own hands. He says he will track down the scattered, rescue the lost, feed the hungry, and gather them back together to bandage their wounds. Real care requires personal action. God's love is so persistent that he is willing to get his own hands dirty to make sure we are safe. But the national leaders aren't the only ones held accountable. God also turns his attention to the ordinary people in the community, judging how the sheep treat one another. In any group, you find people using whatever leverage they have to push weaker folks aside, shoving their way to the front of the line to take the best resources for themselves. God sees this everyday bullying. Every time a strong person takes advantage of someone who can't fight back, he takes notice. He promises to step in as a God of strict justice to protect the poor, the wounded, and the people everyone else ignores. True care requires dealing with the bullies. God establishes real justice at every single level of society, tolerating zero abuse of the vulnerable. To accomplish this total rescue, God reveals his ultimate plan, a prophecy that he will send a shepherd king from the ancient royal line of David. If we fast forward hundreds of years into history, we see exactly who stepped into that role. That promised shepherd king is Jesus Christ. The promise written in Ezekiel perfectly matches the words Jesus spoke in the New Testament. He arrived to say, "I am the good shepherd." Jesus completed the exact mission Ezekiel outlined. He came directly to earth, gathered the hurting people society had rejected, and eventually laid down his own life on the cross to save them. The God who spoke those promises in the ancient world is the exact same good shepherd who walked the dusty roads of the New Testament. Left on our own, human beings are entirely vulnerable. We get lost easily, we get hurt, and simply cannot save ourselves. But God refuses to abandon us. He doesn't shout from a distance. He steps into our mess to pick us up and carry us home. If you want the heartbeat of Ezekiel 34 in a single thought, it is this: my people are hurting, and I myself will come to rescue them. That good shepherd defeated death, rose again, and is still actively gathering his flock today, leading us toward eternal life.